What I've been interested in portraying over a number of years of the downtown east side, particularly in public art, is the facets of the community, the dimension of the community that make it so vital. Public art is a little bit different than studio art in that it's out there on the street and people are living with it all the time, so I'm always aware of that. And a lot of the murals that I do are generated by people from the community, so it's really a lot of the genesis of them come from their ideas and their concepts that are then worked up onto the wall. I've been fortunate to be able to travel quite a bit to do murals and to exhibit primarily in Latin American countries. So I spent a lot of time since the 70s traveling to Mexico and became really actually inspired and charged up about the concept of murals by first traveling in Mexico. Then I brought that back to Vancouver and kind of tried to transplant that to the scene here. Working with community groups involved a lot of networking initially through organizations, and particularly in the East Side, of course, there are a lot of organizations that one can network with, which include community centers like Carnegie. And so that will be like the source, kind of a beginning point, and then a lot of the organizations surrounding that will get involved. And it really is like, it's outreach, you know. It's not waiting for them to come to you, it's you going to them, you know. Often working from just concepts and ideas, not everybody can draw, right? So as much as you'd like to get a whole room full of people that can draw, a lot of people can't really visualize it, but they have ideas. And so my part and the colleagues that I work with are good at taking general concepts and turning them into visuals. Just in a strictly practical kind of a way, I work in these maquettes, work up scale drawings, and those become the gridded design that then gets translated onto a wall. If you're working on a really large wall, like 3 stories high or 5 stories or 6 stories, you have to know where you're at when you're hanging on a scaffold. The way you do it is a very kind of a program of developing the design and measuring the wall and doing a grid and working out that way. You could freehand it, you could just wing it, and if you know what you're doing, if you're working with people who are very strong at that, then improvisational work is also really exciting. There's always setbacks of some kind or other, almost always, I wouldn't say invariably, but they're just more like technical, sometimes they're technical challenges that come up in the course of figuring out a mural. For example, how do you get to it? It's not necessarily just putting a ladder up on a wall. So you have to figure out how you get to it, what the condition of the wall is, how you prep a wall. And almost every project is different. In February I did a mural wall in Port Coquitlam outside on a cold concrete wall off a scaffold, where the whole scaffold had to be covered because of the weather, and we were trying to heat the wall up so that the paint would adhere. So you're working 3 feet or 4 feet from a wall for a month and you can't see it. Sometimes you spend months on a project and it gets tagged. I've learned quite a bit about sealers in the last few years and anti-graffiti coatings and that kind of a thing, which do help. So that's an integral part of the budget. So whenever I put a project together, there's a maintenance clause, which means basically me and a few people going out and cleaning graffiti off. My source material comes from my immediate environment, one thing. So whatever I'm surrounded by, that's really what influences me. In some ways, I think I get most of my inspiration within 8 blocks of home, kind of thing. And I don't have to go any further because it's all there. I'm also really interested in the perspective of the city from this side, because this is like really where the working nature of Vancouver is, and the port and the dock. And I think I started painting urban crows a long time ago, because I do a lot of painting in alleyways and my own painting and printmaking. A lot have to do with alleys and urban landscape, and so wherever you are in the urban landscape, there's crows, it seems. In a way, the nature of crows, and to some extent I guess ravens or bigger cousins, is that they're very adaptable to situation and to conditions, and so in a lot of ways they kind of are a bit of a metaphor for people in the East Side. and in a way kind of symbolize the slightly edgy aspect of the East Side, as well as this concept I have of displacement and adaptability. I don't feel like I need to have one, pervasive mission in order to get up and get to work every day. One aspect of my motivation is the engagement of community in changing the topography and influencing the landscape, and it kind of really gets people excited about doing projects. I love working with groups of people. Muralism is a whole community unto itself, and it gives me a lot of ideas, a lot of energy, and it's great to feel that you're part of something bigger. So mural painting is a bigger world, and we're just like a facet of it. So I guess in a way I bring some of that influence back here to Vancouver.